welcome to Give Day Tampa Bay 2018, live from the WEDU studios at the Berkman Family Broadcast Center.
Good afternoon and welcome to Give Day Tampa Bay 2018. My name is Dalia Colon and I'll be your host for the next hour of our live broadcast. We're here at the WEDU studios in Tampa with representatives from some of the over 400 nonprofits who are participating in Give Day Tampa Bay. The theme of Give Day is Live Here, Give Here, and making a donation is quick and easy. Just log on to giveday.org and search for your favorite charity from our list of participants. When you hit the donate button, you'll fill out your credit card information or debit card information and make your secure gift. The minimum donation is only $5, so no amount is too small and there's no maximum. Give Day will be going on until midnight tonight. We'll be live streaming until 7 p.m. And in our next hour, I'll be talking and listening with various nonprofit groups who are making a difference in Tampa Bay. And while our next guests are being seated, let's go to the leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. Welcome back to Give Day Tampa Bay. I'm Dalia Colon, and I'm joined right now by some representatives of Red Tent Initiative, which I'm so, if you know that I am a co-host on Arts Plus, I had such a great time with the ladies of Red Tent. So Susan Katz and Teresa Carvel, would you please tell us a little bit about the Red Tent Women's Initiative?
Absolutely, Dalia, and we are so pleased to be here, and thank you for having us. My name is Susan Katz. I am the Assistant Director of the Red Tent Women's Initiative, and our work came to be because our founder, Barbara Rohde, who's a licensed marriage and family therapist, was working for the Work Release Center at the time at Goodwill. And she noticed that many of the women who were there were depressed, bored, not doing anything, and they were trauma survivors who were not being treated. They had addiction that was not being addressed. And she started the Red Tent Women's Initiative with the help of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. It started as a 2-day-a-week a support group, a place where women could come and be safe and support one another, empower one another, be absolutely flooded with resources and learn new communication skills. And what's awesome, this is the best part, and I love Red Tent so much, is that women learn to create marketable art while they are being saturated with all these resources and support. And one of the reasons, so they learn to create marketable art. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second because we're creating in the community and we have a storefront and it's so fantastic. But I brought with me Teresa Carvel, who is really a great example of one of our women who, with enough determination and hope, has done so well. And I want her to talk a little bit about her experience because it's pretty powerful.
So Teresa, so just to be clear for our viewers, Red Tent is actually a program that incarcerated women at the Pinellas County Jail can participate in, and then you have a
Correct.
community component as well. So Teresa, tell us a little bit about your involvement with Red Tent.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for hearing my voice. The first thing you should know about me is that I have an extensive criminal record, and I met Red Tent while I was doing time in the Pinellas County Jail. I heard about this fabulous group called Red Tent, and I went on the waiting list to participate in that program. My first day in the program, they handed me a needle and piece of fabric and asked me to sew something, and I was totally lost because I didn't know how to sew. But since that time, I sat and imagined in my imagination what I wanted to create, and this is what I created on my own. It is a tote bag. It's fully lined. It has quilting batting in the handles to keep it nice and soft and comfortable as you add weight to it. I make these by the dozens, and I sell them at Red Tent events with their supporting guidance. They loved me, they cared for me, they supported me, they gave me therapy, not just inside the jail, but when my time was finished, their love and caring was not finished. I now own my own home. I am aspiring to be a master seamstress, and through one of their events, I met a lady through Answered Prayers who invited me to come and be a seamstress with her organization, so now I hold a part-time job as a seamstress. and I am just experiencing so much success in my life. I hope that you will love Red Tent the way I love Red Tent because of their goodness. And I hope that we can gain your support today because I'm here to tell you that a leopard can change its spots. I did it, and other women can do it too. So please support Red Tent so they can touch another woman's life the way that they've touched mine.
What a great story. We had such a great experience. We're just rooting for these women. We only have about 30 seconds left. But Susan, what do you want people to know about Red Tent and the new Red Tent Market?
I want them to know that we are so fortunate that at this point our women have made enough merchandise and we have a space provided by the Pinellas Ex-Offender Reentry Coalition, PERC. They provide us with a storefront that is set to open, ta-da, it's right here, on Friday, May 4th, is our soft opening of our storefront. It's at 1535 16th Street South, and we sell jewelry, tote bags, pillows, anything our women make. And we also have another event coming up on Saturday in the community. It's at Necessaries Boho Femme Funk Boutique in Central Avenue. That's Saturday. That's where our women can also sell. And we are so proud of our women, so proud of Teresa, and we just love our organization. We're so thrilled to be here today.
Well, thank you so much, and you can learn more about Red Tent actually on WEDU later this summer on WEDU Arts Plus, and then, of course, online you have your own website. And we just want to thank you, Susan Katz and Teresa Carvel. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about the Red Tent Women's Initiative. And while our next guests are being seated, let's go to our leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. Welcome back to Give Day Tampa Bay 2018, if we can believe that. I'm Dalia Colon, and I'm joined right now by representatives of Blessed Hands, Blessed Hearts, or Blessed Hands, Blessed Hearts, depending on who you ask, as we were discussing, Champagne Spivey and Ryan Stocker. Thank you so much for coming to the studio today.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about your organization.
Okay, well, Blessed Hands, Blessed Hearts is a donation-based nonprofit here in Tampa. We usually try to reach out to anyone in need, or they can reach out to us. We've actually had a few people reach out to us recently. But because we're donation-based, any donations that we get, whether it be from donors, individuals, different companies, we look for someone in need that needs those items, and then we give them to them.
That sounds great. So, Ryan, can you give us an idea of what are some of the items that someone might receive or donate?
Oh, definitely. We have a wide range of items that we can provide to the community and that we are given, ranging from books for kids to school to everyday food that somebody on the street may need. A lot of times it might be McDonald's gift cards that we get. It might be hygiene items like toothbrushes. A lot of times we get. Yeah, a lot of times we do backpacks as well. Just anything that you can think of that anybody in need, whether they're homeless or have a home, but still might just be in need for it, we're there to help people out.
That's great. A lot of those items that some of us might take for granted, just like
exactly.
hygiene items, food, basic necessities.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of background about the organization. How did it get started? What sparked the idea?
Well, it officially started in July of last year, actually, but for a few years prior to that, we had been making handmade care bags basically in our living room. We would make about 50 to 75 of those every Christmas, and we would go out downtown, we would give them out to people in need. Anytime we were driving by, we would just stop and hand them out. And we did that for about 3 years, and then we decided that we should really take this to the next step, because it's not only hygiene items that people need, it's, like we were saying, it's the books, it's the bags, it's the blankets with the cold weather. And we said, well, why not? Let's expand on this, and let's really make something out of this so we can help a lot more people.
Exactly. In Tampa, every other street you go on, or if it's a major highway, there's people at the corner, looking for water, looking for a snack or a few dollars to get through the night, or, they have their families out there with them. And a lot of people in Tampa are blessed, to not have to worry about that. But then at the same time, we've all been through hard times. So we just wanted to make sure that with the blessings that we've received, that we give back to other people as well.
That's great, because I think we've all seen someone who could use a hand, and we didn't know what to give or how to give,
exactly.
or, and then we just go home and we feel bad.
Yes.
But feeling bad doesn't do anything.
It
So
doesn't.
today is a day to do something about it, and when you go to bed tonight, you're going to feel great that you made a difference. For people interested in donating, what would that money be used for? Like, what is the organization's top need right now?
Well, right now it's hygiene items. We hope to do in a couple months another care bag drive. We would like to do about 100 of them for the homeless downtown. We also are going to do a book drive and toy drive for our local children's home soon. That'll probably be done closer to late summer. And then we're also looking at we'll do another care bag drive towards the end of the year. So mostly hygiene items. We're taking books right now too, if you have them, so that we can give the toys and the books out to the kids. Anything that helps, monetary donations. Nothing we get goes to waste. It really doesn't. Everything we get, we're able to find someone who could have used it.
That's so great. And I think we all have things in our home that we're, you're
don't
decluttering, or your kids are older now and they don't need it, and here's a chance to give it to someone else,
Exactly.
or donate monetarily, which obviously would help those efforts as well.
Yeah, we've even gone as far as to just communicate with even other charities that may have resources that we need, or we might have something that they need. And at the end of the day, a lot of people talk about what they want to do, or they donate to charities, but don't really see the result. But with us, we actually go out into the neighborhood. We actually go out and meet with different businesses and things like that. So the money that you donate to us will directly turn right back around and help out the people that you see every day.
That is so great. Thank you so much for stopping by. Champagne Spivey and
Thank
Ryan
you.
Stocker of
Thank you so
Blessed
much.
Hands, Blessed Hearts.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And while our next guests are being seated, let's go to our leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. Welcome back to Give Day Tampa Bay 2018. I'm Delia Colon here at the WEDU studios, joined with some representatives of New Beginnings of Tampa, Dr. Thomas Atchison and David Drew. Thanks for stopping by. Dr. Tom, if I can call you that, tell us a little bit about New Beginnings.
Well, New Beginnings houses about 150 men and women, and we have about 40 veterans. We take them off the street, help get a job, get permanent housing. So we do 3 meals a day and housing for them.
That's amazing. And so, David, are you a veteran? Tell us just briefly about your background.
It's not just veterans, and no, I am not a veteran, but I was a homeless person, and I arrived at New Beginnings 7 years ago, so I'm here to represent that, yeah.
All right, so I don't know where the guitar fits into this, but maybe you can briefly explain and then do a little demo for us.
Yeah, so 7 years ago I wound up homeless. I was on the streets of New York City. I was a recording artist, a national recording artist in the late 1980s, and fell into some of the pitfalls that go along with that, and wound up homeless in New York City and Tampa, and visited the lovely correctional system of Florida. And when I got out of there, I wound up at Pastor Tom's New Beginnings of Tampa, and now 7 years later, I'm back to doing music. I do music at our church, and I'm making a gospel record with a group that is called The Victors, and sorry about that. Anyway, and it's a real record, and it's coming out, so I'm doing music again, you know. So,
wow, well, congratulations. Yeah. Without further ado,
all right,
David Drew.
You know, this is just a little something. The actual band is a big rock and roll thing, kind of in the vein of Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Clapton and stuff. But I've got home in glory lane, can outshine the sun. I've got home in glory lane, can outshine the sun. I've got home in glory lane, can outshine the sun. Way beyond the blue. Is it too low? Oh, too low. Do remember me? Too low. Oh, too Lord. Do remember me? Too low. Oh, too Lord. Do remember me? Way beyond the blue. Yeah.
Wow.
When he first came in the program, I didn't know who he was, and he was just, going through the paces of the meetings and, recuperation. And one day I got a call from New York, and somebody says, "Do you know who you have in your program?" And they said, "David Drew." I never heard of him, And I at church that evening, I said, "I hear you play the guitar." And he says, "A little bit." Now, he hadn't played for a while.
Understatement.
And I handed him a guitar, and and I said, "I think you're going to be playing in our church some."
And what church is that, by the way?
New Life Pentecostal Church of God in Tampa. I pastor there for 20 years. But we started the New Beginnings program about almost 20 years ago, and with 4 women in a house, and now we have about 150.
Wow, well, what a story. And so for people donating to New Beginnings, I mean, you may have seen people on the street who need help, and David is a diamond in the rough, so to speak, and everyone has talents and value. And so we thank you so much, Dr. Tom Atchison and David Drew of New Beginnings, and we can't wait to hear more from you. I'm sure we'll be seeing big things from the Victors. So thank you so much for stopping by today on Give Day. And while our next guests are being seated, let's go to our leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. Welcome back to Give Day Tampa Bay 2018. I'm Delia Colon here at the WEDU studios in Tampa, joined by representatives of the Heart Gallery of Pinellas and Pasco, Megan Slaughter and Lexi Lindert. So thank you, ladies, for stopping by. A lot of us are familiar with the Heart Gallery, but we always have, I'm sure, new people learning about your mission. So briefly tell us about the Heart Gallery.
So we are a local nonprofit that helps children in the foster care system get adopted. We deal with the harder to adopt children. So we have children over the age of 13, typically larger sibling groups, and children with medical needs.
Wow. Now we have a little video that's probably going to, you might want to get the tissues out, but here we go. Let's watch the video.
Meet Alex, Brendan, and Dakota, 3 brothers in foster care that are waiting to be adopted. Alex, Brendan, and Dakota want a forever family that will allow them to stay together. They want loving parents and hopefully a dog too. They hope to find an active family, and liking video games is a bonus.
I'm Alex, and I'm 10 years old.
I'm Brendan, and I'm 12 years old.
I'm Dakota, and I'm 16 years old.
I would describe myself funny, playful. I like to do stuff like go places, like Airheads, Skate World.
Okay, so I would consider myself funny. I like video games. I'm active.
I'd say I like to do gymnastics. I'm pretty good at sports. I like to draw, very artistic. And I want to be a video game designer or a cosmetologist, something like that.
Yeah, I want to be a video game designer. It's pretty fun.
I always wanted to be a marine biologist.
Yeah.
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 Roller coasters.
Are you excited about my motion, guys? Yes.
Are you?
Wow, what great kids. Oh my gosh, you must just love your jobs. A friend of mine has 8 adopted children, and people tell her all the time, I could never do what you do. And her response is always, okay, maybe not, but you can help those of us who are helping. So the Heart Gallery is clearly helping these children find forever families. Lexi and Megan, when people donate to the Heart Gallery, where does that money go? What's the need?
So I was actually adopted off of the Heart Gallery at 14. And a lot of this money is going towards like portraits and stuff to help them get the word out. And right now we're trying to do birthday parties. When I was in foster care, I got a happy birthday, no cake, presents, anything. And for us, just having some sort of normalcy for these children is what's really important to us. So.
Okay, we have about 30 seconds left, but Megan, where can people learn more about the Heart Gallery of Pinellas and Pasco?
Our website is heartgallerykids.org. All of our children are listed on our website, and you can also give us a call. We're there all the time, and our galleries are also out in the community.
Well, thank you both so much. So go to that website and see all the beautiful children who need forever families, and then go to giveday.org and help however you can. Thank you both for joining us today. And while our next guests are being seated, let's go to the leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. Now let's talk to some folks who are experts on Give Day, how it works, and how we're doing so far today. My colleague Allison Hedrick is in the lobby right now. Allison, how's it going out there? I see a lot of balloons. Allison, can you hear me?
Thanks, Dalia. It's going great. We're hearing some amazing stories today from some organizations and hearing their missions. But we'd also like to talk about the other side of the coin from our donors. And I'm here with Jeff Griggs, one of WEDU's donors today, and he's made an amazing gift today of $1,000. And I'd like to ask you, Jeff, why do you get involved and make a donation today?
Well, I love WEDU and I love PBS. I remember watching PBS as a kid and growing up with it. I've watched PBS all my life. I really love it. It's the best place on the dial. Very few commercial interruptions, and it's just such great content. I see so many interesting shows. And our gift isn't just a gift. The way I look at it, it's an investment. I'm investing our money so that WEDU can buy great programs. They're expensive programs, and I want more of them. So it's kind of a selfish little donation that we're making because we love it. Now, we've also signed up to be sustainers. So every month, a little bit comes out of our checkbook, and that we don't even miss. And then the other thing is I was with my attorney updating my will, and he said, would you like to leave some money to charity? And I said, well, of course. So my wife and I made a very nice donation, a bequeath in our will. I encourage you to support WEDU and the great programming. We can't do it without you. And the donation doesn't have to be big. Most of the donations that come into WEDU are small, and we get a lot of them, but we need a lot more because it's expensive. These programs are not cheap, and we have 36 people here.
Thank you, Jeff. I want to thank you for your donation. I want to thank all of the donors today, and make sure you go to giveday.org and see what organizations are out there and know that your donations are staying here in our community. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Allison and Jeff. Thank you so much for donating, and all of you. There are a lot of ways that individuals can decide that they need to start a nonprofit organization. Let's hear another story about someone deciding that they needed to give back and help out.
Little Light of Mine started about 6 years ago when I started photographing independently on my own through my portrait business, children who have a life-threatening illness. So I went to the hospital, All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg, and presented a plan to offer the services at the hospital. And then the demand was much greater than I could meet on my own. So I needed to solicit local photographers to be on the team, and then I needed to pay for the program, which meant I needed to get the 501c3, and that's how it started. And we have one little boy named Lincoln, and we have photographed him, I think, 3 or 4 times. He has a life expectancy of 18 months, but he's 4.5 now. So he is beating the odds. Mom and I became friends, and we were talking about the fact that he had never been to the beach. So they made the big trek. They live in Tampa, North Tampa, and they made the trek over to St. Pete. We were all watching the sunset, and we had done an amazing photo shoot. He put little toes in the water and in the sand, and he was signing to his parents that he loved the sun and he loved the water, and it was a pretty epic moment. So we still continue to photograph him, and hopefully the family is hopeful that they'll find a cure for his disease. So many of the families that we photographed, a large portion of them are families who have children in the hospital, and those children have never left the hospital. So they've never had an opportunity to have a portrait made of them, a professional portrait. Many of them just rely on cell phone pictures. And so we go in and photograph them. But the images are being reported back by parents that those are some of the key things that help them get through their grieving process. And just from a human aspect, you know, we all know how precious our photographs are to us, and it transports us back to other places and times. So just from that aspect alone, you know, giving this gift of photography to those families who are threatened with losing their child is the impact that we provide.
There's so many great causes you can give to today. Go to giveday.org to make your donation and find the cause that speaks to your heart. And I know for a lot of people that's animals. So I'm so excited to welcome Lindsay Weisenbach, Bob Price, and who's our special guest here?
This is Molly. Molly is a mom. She has 6 9-week-old puppies that'll be all going to their new homes on Sunday. So we're happy, and she's very happy.
Oh, I bet. I just have 2, and I'm like, okay, it's time for you to leave the nest.
Couple more.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. But you all are representing Tampa Bay Beagle Rescue.
That's right.
And I don't know if people realize that there are nonprofits dedicated to helping specific breeds of dogs. So
That's
tell us a
right.
little bit about Tampa Bay Beagle Rescue, where you're located and what you do.
Well, we're an all foster-based rescue group, which means our dogs are located all over the Tampa Bay area. We even have dogs that are located in foster homes up in the Panhandle. We get dogs that are at-risk dogs from shelters across Florida, even into Georgia. And lately we've been just getting hit really hard with a lot of orthopedic cases, dogs getting hit by cars with broken legs. And so it's been taxing, but you can't walk away from those.
Wow. So what does fostering a dog, what's all involved in that?
You have to have a lot of love. Basically, you provide the food and the shelter, and we provide all of the other veterinary costs, the preventions, heartworm and flea prevention, and then make sure that we get them to the meetups. We have meetups every 2 weeks on Saturdays where all of our dogs come together and potential adopters can meet them and decide what dog might work best for them.
Do many of the foster families end up keeping the dogs?
It is, it's a dilemma in the beginning. It's very well known as foster failure. I have 2 at home that are foster failures. But I think the more you do it, you realize what the mission is, and you can't keep them all. So, you know, but then you come across girls like this, and she's just so sweet. I mean, it's like a keeper, you know, but you gotta make room for the next one.
So I have to ask, is Molly available for adoption? I know people will want to know.
Molly will be available for adoption. We're going to give her a couple more weeks, and then she's going to get spayed. And when she's spayed and we got her microchipped, she will be ready for adoption.
Wow. So how old is she? And if people are interested in adopting or making a donation, obviously they can go to giveday.org, but then where can they learn more about Tampa Bay Beagle Rescue?
Tampa Bay Beagle Rescue, you can go to tampabaybeaglerescue.org. All of our dogs are listed on the website with a little description of them, their age, and she will be on there probably in about 2 weeks, so look for her. She's a very, very sweet dog.
She's going to go quickly. People are just going to
is
refresh
gonna go
that website and look for Molly.
Exactly.
She's gorgeous. Lindsay, why are you passionate about the Beagle Rescue?
I had rescued my Beagle about 7 years ago, and she's just been so amazing to have, so I wanted to give back. And I also feel like if I would just adopt any dog at the shelter, I would become like a dog hoarder. So fostering has been kind of my way to give back and not end up having 10 dogs in my home.
Makes sense. Don't be a dog hoarder. You can foster, love them for a short time, and then set them free.
Yeah.
When people make a donation to the Tampa Bay Beagle Rescue, what does that money help to do?
Well, the orthopedic cases that we've had have been very expensive. Shelters, when they come across dogs like that, they just can't afford thousands of dollars for orthopedic surgery. So every single penny that we get in donation goes directly to the care of all of our dogs, preventions, education. We educate the community about spaying and neutering, about how to care for a dog, specifically this breed. And a lot of those cases, we get a lot of dogs that are heartworm positive that shelters just, I mean, good dogs that will get put down because they just can't do it. And that's why we're there. And other groups that are breed specific like ours, or other groups that just help the shelters. They're our partner, and we can do for the dogs what they can't. So, and it moves them out of the shelters and allows them to take in other dogs.
Wow.
So that's the key. And for us, as much as money is a great thing, we also need fosters badly. I mean, the more fosters we have, the more dogs we can save. That's the bottom line.
Wow. What are the requirements? I've thinking, my family just adopted a dog 2 days ago, and he's actually coming home tonight from a shelter. There are plenty of beautiful dogs, all different breeds at the shelters. But what all is involved in fostering? If someone's those eyes are just killing me, Molly. You're stealing the spotlight here, girl. If someone's interested in fostering and they're thinking, oh, I have a small yard, or I have kids, or I don't have kids, sort of talk them through some of those barriers.
They go to our website. There's a place to fill out an application to become a foster. You will then be called and they'll interview you, and then you come to one of the meetups on a Saturday and we'll find a dog for you that fits. For example, this dog would be great for somebody who lived in an apartment or condo. We have some dogs that need a yard. So we try to help match up fosters and the dogs so that it's a good fit and a good match. And a new foster, we always try to give them a good, easy dog.
And to add to that, this in the summertime is when we have the most demand for new fosters. So if anybody's interested in fostering or trying it out, go ahead and apply, because we're really going to need more fosters this summer.
That's great. If you're off for the summer, things are a little bit slow, great time to bring a new member into your family. Permanently or for a short time. So Lindsay Weisenbach, Bob Price, and Molly, the sweetest dog in the world.
She is.
Thank you so much for sharing with us about Tampa Bay Beagle Rescue.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And while our next guests are being seated, let's go back to our leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. Welcome back to Give Day Tampa Bay. I'm Delia Colon here at the WEDU studios in Tampa, joined by Scott Taylor of RCS Pinellas. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me, Delia.
So, first question, what is RCS Pinellas?
Well, RCS Pinellas is a multidimensional organization that serves Pinellas County residents in a couple different programs. We have the RCS Food Bank, which serves over 70,000 Pinellas County residents with emergency food, as well as we serve an additional 70 food banks and food pantries throughout the county. We have RCS Grace House, which provides bridge housing for homeless families. So they stay with us for 8 to 10 weeks, receive intense case management while they're saving up to move on to permanent housing. And 9 out of 10 of the people who complete that program actually go on to permanent housing. And then we have the Haven of RCS, which supports survivors of domestic violence and their children. And there's 2 modalities of the Haven. We have our outreach program, which is providing services to about 17,000 men, women, and children through our 24-hour hotline, as well as just education and support services. But then we also have emergency shelter for those who are escaping their situation, so we can support them. We have 50 women and children in residence with us at any time for that. We also have the RCS Thrift Store, which helps support our mission, but more importantly supports our participants through providing them with household goods and clothing that they would need when they're transitioning. And then we have affordable housing. As you know, in Pinellas County, affordable housing is very hard to come by, and so we have a long-term solution for those who are trying to, again, get into something more permanent.
Wow. So y'all are busy. Y'all are doing a lot.
We are. And last year we served 130,000 Pinellas County residents, which is about 15% of the county, and all right there in Pinellas, local.
15% of the county, 130,000 people.
Yeah.
So probably someone you know. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, and the organization was formed over 50 years ago. But I think many people have used our services or known someone who's used our services. But we're trying to get the word out for not only people to partake in those services, but also to get people involved through volunteerism and through advocacy. So we appreciate Give Day for that reason very much.
Wow. And I think some people may still find it hard to believe that there are hungry people and homeless families. So can you tell us about that need?
Yeah, well, what's interesting, particularly on the food bank, is I mentioned 70,000 people that we're serving. Only 2% of them are homeless. So you think we're actually serving many people who have homes, underemployed perhaps. So food insecurity is significant in Pinellas County, and so we're meeting the need through that, as well as supporting all the other food pantries that are doing great work through that. But homelessness, these issues, domestic violence, these issues don't discriminate between economic background, socioeconomic standing. So we're happy to help anyone in that situation.
Wow. And with the numbers you're giving, I mean, really, if it's not happening to us, then it's got to be happening to someone we know or work with or our kids go to school with. So when we donate, when we go to giveday.org to make our donation, where does that money go? How does it help RCS Pinellas?
Yeah. Well, RCS, we're very fortunate that we have an incredibly loyal group of volunteers that make us happen. 2,500 volunteers annually. And because of that, we're able to put 92 cents of every dollar back into our programming directly. So we don't have an abundance of riches. We're able to put that right into the program where it belongs. So when people are giving, that's what they're giving to. And we need more volunteers to continue to help with that as well.
Okay, so for people who can give monetarily, that's great. And in addition, if you can give your time, that's fantastic. What are some of the volunteer opportunities? And is there a requirement? Do you have to be a certain age, a group, an individual?
Yeah. If you go to rcspinellas.org, our volunteer tab provides a lot of the individual questions for the very specific programs, but we want to make volunteerism accessible. If you have an hour to give, we've got that for you. We have so many people who every Tuesday and Thursday, they're at the food bank. That's what they do. So whatever anyone has to offer, we can find a place for them. And we have wonderful employees and staff who will train them up and help them out.
That's great. I think this is the type of organization that people think of for like Thanksgiving and the holidays, but the need is year-round.
Well, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because although November and December are our greatest needs, our greatest times of receiving food, specifically for our food bank, our greatest need comes in the summer months. Students are going to be out of school. They're not going to be getting breakfast and lunch. So we need to make sure that we're getting specifically food donations all throughout the year. But you're right on with that.
Wow, it's just mind-boggling. It's something you think about tonight, and you can actually do something about it instead of just kind of feeling bad or feeling like, oh, maybe I should have gotten involved. Now's your chance to get involved. If you're getting ready to pick up the kids from school or log off your computer, just hop onto wedu.org or giveday.org and make your donation. You'll be helping RCS Pinellas and a lot of other great causes. So, Scott Taylor, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And while our next guests are being seated, let's go to our leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. There are a number of Give Day incentives and prizes to encourage you to donate. The small, medium, and large nonprofits with the most unique donors each will get a $2,000 prize sponsored by the Brink Foundation, AARP, the Tampa Bay Rays Foundation, SunTrust, and the Lightning Foundation. So give generously. Just go to giveday.org. I'm Dalia Colon at the WEDU studios in Tampa, joined right now by Kristen Spytek and John Spytek of the National CMV Foundation. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, what is the National CMV Foundation?
So we are a national organization. We are dedicated to educating women of childbearing age about congenital CMV. Congenital CMV is the leading viral infection affecting newborns with permanent disabilities. It affects 30,000 babies per year. and only 9% of women know about it.
I have 2 kids and I didn't know about it. So.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. What happens is these newborns are born with hearing loss, vision loss, cerebral palsy, seizures, various other developmental disability, and they are classified into some of those various categories. And no one is I won't say no one, but a lot of people are not necessarily diagnosing the underlying condition, which is congenital CMV. So again, it's a viral infection and not a genetics disorder, and therefore there's no routine standard of care for this particular virus.
So why are you 2 passionate about this cause?
Yeah.
We were passionate about it because our daughter was born with congenital CMV in 2013. We started the foundation in 2014, and our biggest issue with it was nobody told us about it. We were just like you. We'd never heard of it. We're 2 healthy adults. We waited to start a family, and here's a fairly common virus that's out there with 30,000 kids affected a year, and we just never heard about it. So since no one else is doing anything about it, we kind of felt like the impetus was on us to do something about it.
Wow. So what's your daughter's name and what happened? What's the rest of your story?
Her name is Evelyn Grace, and she was severely affected by a lot of the underlying conditions. She had to multiple therapies, eventually a surgery, and the surgery ended up costing her life. So she passed away after the surgery because of it, and it was all because of CMV and what CMV did to her and her functionality.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
It wreaks havoc on your system, and a lot of these kids are okay, but CMV can go on to have progressive hearing loss in children. So sometimes you are born with CMV, you're perfectly healthy, you present normal, and then you go home, and at age 2, 4, 7 years old, you can go profoundly deaf. So there are interventions and therapies to be done if you are educated on it, and so that's our passion, that's our cause, that's what we're here to do.
Wow, that's, as a parent, or if anyone is thinking of becoming a parent, that just is heartbreaking, and people think, oh, I hope that doesn't happen. You know, I hope that doesn't happen to us, but hope isn't really a plan.
Right.
So I guess that's where the National CMV Foundation comes in. And that's amazing that it's a national organization based right here in Tampa Bay. Where are you based?
That's right. We're headquartered here. We do tend to move a little bit. Due to my husband's job, he is the director of player personnel for the Buccaneers.
Oh, nice.
So we are lucky to be here in Tampa Bay. I'm thrilled with the community and the passion for giving back here. But we've been here about 2 years now.
Yep.
So we're just down the street in South Tampa.
Perfect. Wow. So when people give to the National CMV Foundation, where does that money go? What does it help to do?
Yeah, so we are first and foremost into education. So the creation of a lot of education materials for advocacy efforts here in Florida, but then also beyond. We also fund research. So various specialties, infectious disease being a leading one. We're funding a lot of young investigators who are very interested in this research. And we're also doing a lot towards partnerships with state departments of health to try and get some of the awareness and education materials out there and into the public eye. This is definitely a public health issue, and we want to make sure women know about it, not to scare them, but just simply so they are armed with all of the knowledge of things they need to be thinking about during pregnancy.
Wow. So what would they, now that you've sort of awakened us to a lot of this, what would be the next step if someone's expecting a child or has a newborn, and now they've heard your story? What do they do? Do they call their doctor? What do they ask?
Yes, it's a great question. Before and during pregnancy, there's some prevention measures that you can do. Really just standard hygiene, washing your hands. If you have toddlers or babies at home or you work with them, either in a hospital setting, childcare, etc., making sure not to share utensils, share food, put pacifiers in your mouth, making sure you're really being diligent on washing your hands after changing a diaper. It's transmitted, as a viral infection, it's transmitted through mucus and saliva and tears. So it's generally passed along if you do work or are around children.
Wow. Well, I have a 6-year-old and an almost 2-year-old, so I'm thinking about changing diapers and being more vigilant about all of that.
That's right.
Where can people learn more?
Our website, nationalcmv.org. There's a ton of information on there about diagnosis and treatment and therapies, as well as how to get involved.
Wow. And John, you work with the Buccaneers. I mean, sometimes we think like, well, these things don't happen to you know, people we see on the football field and people who work with them, but it seems like this is something that could happen to anyone, and we all need to be educated about it.
Yeah, that was our story too. I mean, things like this don't happen to us, and then they did. And we're just out there to try to help people and ensure that doesn't happen to more families and more kids. Really, you know, the victim in all of this was Evelyn, and we want to make sure that we do whatever we can to make sure that in her name and in her honor, fewer and fewer kids every year are affected by this virus.
Wow. Well, we all owe Evelyn a debt of gratitude because now you're helping to educate other families, and I know other kids will be saved and have been saved because of your efforts. So we really appreciate your time and just all of your efforts and the way that you're honoring her memory. So Kristen and John Spytek of the National CMV Foundation, we wish you all the best, and thank you so much for stopping by on Give Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you've been moved, and I don't see why you haven't been, you can go to giveday.org to make your donation. And while our next guests are being seated, let's go to our leaderboard and get an updated total on your donations. Welcome back to Give Day Tampa Bay 2018. I'm Delia Colon here at the WEDU studios in Tampa, joined now by Justine Burke of Metropolitan Ministries. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to be here.
Well, Metro Ministries is a name that, we've all heard floating around or maybe have been involved with, but briefly, what is Metropolitan Ministries?
Well, Metropolitan Ministries was founded in 1972, and so we are in our 46th year of providing comprehensive care and resources for poor and homeless families and those at risk of becoming homeless in the Tampa Bay area.
Wow. So what are some of the ways that you do that?
Well, we have a residential program, on-campus program, both in Tampa and in Pasco, where we house approximately 250 children and 100 families every night in what we call our Uplift You Self-Sufficiency program, where they stay with us anywhere from a year to a year and a half or so. We also have a short-term emergency shelter program, and then we have outreach and prevention services where people can come in just day by day for needs like food, clothing, specialty assistance with electric and utility bills and things like that.
And this is another one of those nonprofits that I think comes to mind at Thanksgiving time, holiday time, but what are some of the needs that go unmet throughout the year?
I'm glad you asked that, especially this time of year. That's why Give Day Tampa Bay is such a timely initiative, because this is the time of year when our donations tend to drop off the most. I think it's the summertime, people go on vacation, they leave town, they're busy, and we do get so much during Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we are open 365 days a year, 24/7, and so we need to stock up now, and we actually start preparing for the holidays very, very soon.
Wow, the need doesn't stop. And so if people go to giveday.org to make their donation, specifically what does that money help to do for Metropolitan Ministries?
Well, today we're focusing our Give Day on filling empty plates. So I brought myself an empty plate, and for our purposes, we can actually feed a person for $1.96 because of the generous donations in the community. And every empty plate has a story. It's a person. It's not just about a plate of food and numbers and how many plates we can fill. But I just brought a few examples. People come to us for so many reasons. Jamie came to us because she was fleeing domestic violence and she had nowhere to go and she needed a meal. But then once she got to us, she realized how much more we could offer her than beyond the meal. Same thing with Diane. She's an older woman who lives alone on a fixed income. She was choosing between food and medicine, of which that shouldn't be the case, right?
Wow.
And this would be a small child named Anaya who goes to bed hungry at night and talks about her stomach aches.
Wow, there are just so many stories, and these are real people. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
So go to giveday.org to make your donation to Metropolitan Ministries. And Justine Burke, we thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you very much for having us.
And that concludes this hour of our Give Day Tampa Bay webcast. But stay with us. There are a number of outstanding groups yet to come. A coffee shop in Tampa combines job training and art for individuals on the autism spectrum in an effort to provide real-world work experience and an avenue for art for the employees. WEDU Arts Plus takes us out for coffee.
The Artiste Cafe is located at the Mercedes-Benz of Tampa, and basically it employs young adults with autism to teach them basic work skills, training, communication for whether they work here or at any other job. The caramel deli? You're welcome. Our beverages are named after artists because more than a cafe, we are also an art program.
Art for Autism is our nonprofit, and really it was originally started for art and art therapy for young children and young adults with autism, but it's expanded very much beyond that.
A couple of our guys do art, one does writing, I myself do photography and videography. Another guy is a musician.
Because of Art for Autism, because our focus at the time was art, we just were inspired to do a cafe centered around artists. You know, artistas is the Spanish word for artist. And so we just had fun with it. Instead of baristas, they're artistas, and they're creating beverage masterpieces.
It's not run like other businesses where you kind of just hop in and you either know the ropes or you don't. They're patient with you, and they don't give you the pink slip for little accidents. They work with it and help you learn from your mistakes.
Well, I have a daughter, Gabrielle, and she's been my inspiration for this. So she was diagnosed with autism at the age of 4. And at that time, because she's now going to be 20 years old, we had no idea what autism was. Some of the challenges with autism is social skills, things like eye contact or even communicating.
2011 I was on mute, and what is it, 2016? I'm a glorified mute. I talk 50% of the time now as opposed to talking 1% of the time.
Sometimes they get very focused on one thing, so we teach multitasking. Teamwork is a big one. They get to work as part of a team, which really we've seen kind of flourish into friendships, which is something that oftentimes people with autism don't have growing up.
For photography and videography specifically, involves a lot of teamwork and communication, something I was not great at before. Not knowing how to not only work with people, but how to communicate my ideas. But I've grown a bit better at that, been able to share some of my stuff, get feedback on it, know what works, what doesn't, and that is definitely something you want in that kind of field.
Since we started the program in 2011, we've had several dozen people that have come through our training program. Obviously here at this cafe, we actually employ 6 young people.
It was my first job, so I got my first paycheck, and that was like a history in the making right there. But on top of that, it changed me as far as, you know, being able to, you know, be more open to people. Because, you know, when you're at a cafe, you're constantly interacting with people. And it also inspired my art, too.
And he's actually created a character for each of our coffees. So there's a medium roast bean, there's a dark, you know, strong, bold bean, there's a decaf bean that's a little sleepy, and Hazel, she's a little nutty. But he's created these characters with really the characteristics of people with autism. And so these bean characters, we have a vision that they will be able to really showcase what autism is all about, and the fact that people with autism are the same as you and I. Oftentimes people with autism don't have the words to express how they feel, And art gives them a vehicle to be able to express. And we've seen it with our artistas. We've seen how their artwork has changed over time, even as they felt like they've been part of something and they feel good about what their future is.
And it also is pretty awesome to just hear how like them talk about who made the painting characters and all that, because I'll be like all smiling like, yeah, you're talking with them.
We even have a whole wall full of the artists' work.
I go into high-rise office buildings and municipal centers and hang a gallery space, and then we fill that with local art. And I rent that space to the artists, and their art is for sale and for show, of course. Of course, there's a gallery space right here in the Tampa Mercedes dealership. Galleries on the Go typically charges the artist rent, but with artistas, we want to make sure that that money goes back into their training center, allowing them to keep doing what they're doing to help those young artists and workers find a way to make a living.
Art is also a great way to change people's perceptions about what's going on, so that we can change that stigma that currently exists today to one of, man, they're amazing, and that's how we feel about them here at Artistas.
Welcome to Give Day Tampa Bay.